Welcome students. This is Dimple Arora back with another interesting topic, iterative statements or loops. Loops are the lifeline for a programmer. So stay focused. Let's start with the session. Today we will try to understand what loops are, what are the requirements for writing a loop. We'll also get to know about the while loop and the for loop, and we'll write certain programs using while loop to have a greater insight and to generate fabulous results. Let's begin. What are loops? The repetitive execution of the same block of code over and over is referred to as iteration, repetition, or loop. There are two types of iterations: definite iteration, in which the number of repetition is specified explicitly in advance, and the other one is indefinite iteration, in which the code block executes until some condition is met. Let us understand definite iteration with an example. Your class teacher needs to calculate grades for the students of your class. The teacher knows there are 35 students in the class. He or she needs to repeat the process of calculating the grades for 35 times. He or she know they have to start with student number 1 and ends with the student number 35. So, there is a definite number of iterations, that is 35. Now, to understand indefinite iteration, let us consider this example of day of election. The polling officer do not have any idea of how many people will appear to cast their vote. The polling officer needs to repeat the process of identifying a person, checking his name in the voter list, and allowing him to cast the vote and count the total number of votes. That is, update the number of votes casted. And this process continues till the voters keep coming to the election center from morning to evening. So, at the end of the day only, he comes to know about the actual number of voters. It can not be predicted in advance. So, this example explains indefinite iteration. There are two types of loop, the while loop and the for loop in Python. We have just seen sometimes we have indefinite iterations and sometimes we have definite iterations. We use while loop whenever we have indefinite iterations, and we use for loop for definite iterations. But sometimes we need a loop inside a loop. The loop inside a loop is called a nested loop. We'll see the type of loops and how they are used in Python in the coming slides. Now let's understand the requirements for a loop. Whenever we are writing a loop, we need an initialization, an expression specifying an ending condition, and an action to be performed at the end of each iteration. Let's understand this with an example. Let us open a new file. Let me write some simple print statements. Print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4. What will happen? What it is going to display? I am saving this. And on execution, you can see it is simply generating or displaying the first 4 natural numbers. So, it's quite easy to see displaying first 4 natural numbers. If I want to write numbers from 1 to 10, I have to write 10 print statements. If I need to write 100 numbers, I need to write 100 statements, which is a very tedious task. So, what to do? So here comes in picture the concept of loops. Loops makes our life easy. They are quite useful in such situations, and you can see I'm writing a small program in which I'll be using a while loop. So I have taken one variable count and I'll writing while count is less than 10, 11. I need to put this colon, it is mandatory, and then I'll write print count, and then count is equal to count plus 1. So here you can see these two statements, this print statement and this count statement, these comprises the body of the while loop. Here you can see this is initialization. Let me write the comments, you will understand. This is initialization, and this is terminating criteria written over here, and this is step to be executed at each iteration. So this is the step which is to be executed at each iteration. Now how it works? This count is called the loop counter variable. We need to initialize the loop counter variable with a value. So the loop starts with an initial value 1. Then we'll check, is 1 less than 11? Yes. Then we'll print 1. Then we'll change this value of this loop counter variable by increment it by 1 and assign it back to it. So now the value of count will become 2. So each time we'll be displaying the value and we will be incrementing it. So let me save it. And when I execute, you can see it is displaying numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see there are changes when I have written here count is 1, here 11. Now what if I want to print numbers from 1 to 100? So instead of this, if I'll put a 101 over here, it will going to print numbers from 1 to 100. So you can see we need not write 100 statements to print the counting from 1 to 100. So loops help us to find simple solution for such situations. Moving ahead, let's see the syntax of the while loop. The while loop begins with the keyword while followed by a condition which is the terminating criteria for the loop followed by a colon. This colon is a mandatory, and then in the next line begins the body of the loop which is indented. This may comprise of one statement or multiple statements, and these statements get executed only if this condition is true. We have just seen an example. These print statement and count statement, they are indented, and this is the while keyword, this is the condition, and they are executed till this condition holds true. As soon as the condition becomes false, the loop terminates. Now, what if I want to print the numbers from all even numbers from 1 to 20? So these are the even numbers, but these should be less than or equal to 20. So my initial value will be 2 and final value will be 21, and you can see I am getting the each term by adding 2 to it. 2 plus 2 4, 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 2 8, as these are the even numbers, so they are the multiples of 2. So instead of adding 1 to the counter variable, I am adding 2 to the counter variable to get the even numbers. On execution, you can see I am getting all the even numbers between 2 to 21. Dear students, let us understand the while loop with some examples. To start with, let us try to write a program to find the factorial of a number. So, first of all, we must know what's a factorial of a number. If suppose we are given a number x equals to 5, then we need to find the x factorial, and the x factorial is nothing but 5 star 4 star 3 star 2 star 1. That is the product of numbers from 1 to 5 if the number is 5. And if the number is 7, it will be the product of numbers from 1 to 7. So if the number is n, it is a product of number from 1 to n. To find the factorial of a number, we first need to have a loop counter variable. Let it be I. So I is to start with, we have to accept the number from the user for which we want to find the factorial. So I'll write int input, enter a number. Now I need to calculate the product of multiple numbers, so I will take a variable product and initialize it to 1. Now while before this, I'll take a loop counter variable I, will initialize to 1. So the terminating criteria, because I want to multiply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successively up to n. So that's why I have taken this value of I to be 1, and while this I is less than equal to the number for which I want to calculate the product or the factorial of a number, followed by a colon, then I'll write product is equal to product star I, and then I need to increment the loop counter variable. I is equal to I plus 1. So let me execute and show you. First let me save it. And then execute it. It asks me to enter number 8. Oh, I forgot to write print statement, which is mandatory. So let me come back to the program. We haven't written any output statement. Factorial of n is what? Product. Run, save, run. I'm giving 8, so it results in 40320, which is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7 into 8. So let me try it once again. Run. I give 5 and it results in factorial of 5 is 120. You can check it out. This is correct answer. The next program we'll be discussing is a program to compute x power n without using the power method, which is a part of the module math. So if a number x is having a value 2 and n is having a value 5, we need to find or calculate 2 to the power 5. So how we go about it? Basically it is product of 2 for 5 times. So let us see how to implement using Python. This time also we need to find a product. So we'll take a variable called product and initialize it to 1. Right? Let us create this a generalized function. So let us accept the value of x and y from the user, or x or n from the user. So let me take x is equal to input, enter the value of x, then n is equal to int input, enter the value of n, let the loop counter variable starts with 1. So while I less than equal to n, we must put colon. So product is equal to product star x, and I'll increment the loop counter variable. I equals to I plus 1. It's quite similar to the previous program. In the previous program we have multiplied here this product by I. So the value of I, the loop counter will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 which having variable values was multiplied. But in this case a fixed value x will get multiplied, so that x is multiplied to itself n times and will get the value of x power y, x power n, sorry. So we need to put a output statement, print x power n equals to product. So this ends the program. Let me save it and we'll execute. I forgot to put a comma over here. Yes, now it's done. Execute it. It's asking for the value. Let me give 2 and the value of n is 5. It was an infinite loop because the loop counter variable was not incremented or changed. So on putting value 2 and 5, so you can say 2 power 5 is equal to 32. Let us move to another example of a while loop. Now we are going to write a program to find the reverse of a number. Suppose if the number is x, which is 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to find its reverse, that is reverse x will be 6, 5, 4, 3. So first of all we understand the logic behind it. So what is the logic behind it? We have this number 3, 4, 5, 6. What happens when we divide it by 10? We divide it by 10. So what will happen? I am having this number 3, 4, 5, 6. Divide it by 10. I'll get 3, 4, 5. If I multiply by 3, 4, 5, I am going to get 3, 4, 5 and a 0. So what I'll get? I'll get a remainder 6, which is the last digit of the number, and you can say, and the quotient is, you can see the quotient left out is the remaining number. So I repeat this process. Now I'll divide 345, 3, 4, 5 divided by 10. Quotient will be 34 and you will get 3, 4 and a 0 over here, and remainder is 5. Now again you can see we have got this second last bit as a quotient, and this 34, the remaining 34 will be the quotient. Repeating again, we'll get, we have 34 over here and we divide it by 10. We'll get 23 is 30 and we'll have a remainder 4. Now we have got a remainder as this second digit. So in the first level I got 6 as a result. In the next level I got 5 as a result. In next level I got 4 as a result. That is, in each successive division I am getting the remainder in reverse order. So finally you are left with 3. So I again divided by 10. 10 into 0 is 0, and remain here also 0, and remainder is 3. So we get this final term 3. So I have to repeat the process till I get 0 as the quotient. And we already know to find the remainder we use this modulus operator, and to find the quotient we use this double slash to find the quotient when we are using integer division. Let us understand. This was an example. Let me first have an input for the number whose reverse is to be found out. Let it be num. So num is equal to int input enter a number. I'll take one variable n and stores the value of number. As in each successive division the value of number is going to change, so I need to have the original value. So I'll save it in n, and I'm going to use n instead of num for processing the loop. Then I'll take a variable to store the reverse of a number and initialize it to 0. So now begins the while loop. While n is greater than equals to 0, the loop continues, and what it will do, first we'll try to find the remainder. Remainder r is equal to n modulus 10, and the reverse number we'll get it by rnum star 10 plus r, and then changing the loop counter variable value as a step size. So n is equal to n double slash 10, which will give a quotient. You can see that I've written rnum is equal to rnum star 10. The value of rnum is 0. So 0 star 10 will be 0 plus the r. Suppose the number is 3, 4, 5, 6. So remainder will be 6. So this value of rnum will become 6. On the next iteration, we'll have the value of n as 345. So this time the remainder is 5, and the previous rnum was 6. 6 into star 10 was 60. 60 plus 5 will become 65. Next time 65 into 10 650 plus 4. Next time 654 into 10 6540 plus 3. So you will get 6543 as the resultant value of reverse number. Now we need to have an output statement. Print the reverse of what? Num is what? Rnum. Save, execute. There was mistake in this condition. N greater than equal to 0. Let it be n greater than 0 only. As soon as it becomes 0, it should stop. So when we run it, okay, save it. Suppose I give 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get the reverse number 4321. Execute once again. Some random number 5687. So the reverse is 7865.